No one symbolizes China's rapid 30-year rise from the backwaters of communism to the second largest economy in the world better than real estate developer Zhang Xin. What's interesting about her is that while we think of China as being uncreative, repressive, and as far as you can get from the American dream, she breaks every one of those stereotypes. She's a mogul who got her start not in China, but on Wall Street. But she missed the Great Wall, so she went back home and made it big.
The story will continue in a moment.
The mogul, Zhang Xin, is the fifth richest self-made billionaire woman in the world.
This is us. The one outside, that one is us.
She's pointing out her buildings. With her partner husband, she has built more of Beijing than almost any emperor in China's history. Wherever you look, you see the company logo, Soho China, on one cutting-edge skyscraper after the next. As a developer, Xin pays special attention to design, which is why she's been called the Steve Jobs of the architecture world. Her buildings are fluid and futuristic and daring, and would be at home in New York or London, an expression of China's emergence into the modern world. These kinds of projects are one reason for China's explosive economic growth. Recently, though, there have been fears of overbuilding and a real estate bubble. Xin told us that's why she keeps her focus narrow, only office buildings and only in Beijing and Shanghai.
My own view is that residential property development in China has really come to an end.
You don't feel that there's any threat of a bursting bubble in commercial real estate in Beijing and Shanghai?
I think in retail, like shops, shopping malls, there is oversupply. But office is the only property sector that's doing well.
Even though the future may be uncertain?
The future may be uncertain in terms of, well, the future is always uncertain wherever you go.
But more uncertain now.
Even if the certainty is not 10% growth for China, it goes down to 7% growth, it's still a better place to put your money.
You think?
I think so.
You have that much faith?
That's why we're investing heavily.
She says her personal story shows that China is the new land of opportunity.
China is the place that produced more self-made billionaires than any other country in the world.
Do you know what the American dream is? It sounds like the American, doesn't it?
Very much so.
How times have changed. Xin was born during the Cultural Revolution when Mao Zedong brutally purged all the capitalists and intellectuals whom he derided as running dogs. And if you were educated, you were almost crushed.
My parents were university graduates.
Oh boy, they were in trouble.
They were sent to the countryside. I spent years in the countryside as part of the re-education camp.
For Xin, it goes back to when she was 8. Her mother was allowed to return to Beijing, where she found work as a translator. But they were destitute and homeless, forced to sleep in an office.
I remember we would sleep on her desk. We would use her dictionaries, because my mother was a translator, as the pillow.
You slept on the desktop, dictionary as your pillow?
Pillow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for months we did that.
When Xin was 14, she moved to Hong Kong in search of work. But life there was just as hard. She was forced to slave away on assembly lines as a sweatshop girl.
I mean, I look at those, it's a different chapter in life. I knew that's not a life I wanted to have.
Did you have a dream?
No. I wanted to just escape.
Out of here. Right. So when she had saved enough money, she bought a one-way ticket to London, packed up her bags, and left.
Nothing familiar.
And you didn't know anybody?
Didn't know anybody. I sat on my suitcase, started crying.
You end up, no one's going to believe this, you end up working at Goldman Sachs. What a tale. From crying and alone to school to learn English, which led to a scholarship to the University of Sussex, and then a master's in economics from Cambridge. The woman who once slept on a dictionary and now has about $3 billion in her bank account may tout China as the new land of opportunity. But she knows it's still not the land of the free.
You know, I have to say, for a Chinese living in China, Chinese, if you ask one thing everyone crave for, is what? It's not food, it's not homes. Everyone crave for democracy. I know there's a lot of negativities in the US about the political system, but don't forget, you know, 8,000 miles away, people in China are looking at it, longing for it.
Do you think there will be democracy here? Let's say I'm going to put a time frame on it. In 20 years?
Sooner.
You're an optimist.
I am.
A bold statement in a country with heavy government censorship and limited freedom of speech. And while she is thriving, China's residential real estate is in trouble. That part of the story when we return.